let's see what happened between the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and the leader of Somaliland. Let's have a look at this video over here.
Mr. President.
Mr. Prime Minister.
It's good to talk to you. And before anything else, I want you to know that I'm signing now, as we speak, Israel's official recognition of Somaliland and its right of self-determination. Our friendship is seminal and historic. So I'm very, very happy and I'm very proud of this day. And I want to wish you and the people of Somaliland the very, very best there.
The same man who occupies Palestine and who controls an apartheid entity is talking about the right of self-determination of the people of Somaliland when he is oppressing, killing, committing a genocide and destroying the Palestinian people and not granting the Palestinian people the right to self-determination. Now, of course, these actions speak louder than anything, and I don't even have to explain to you who this man is and what he does, and you know what he did to and still doing to the Palestinian people. So, of course, it's not about self-determination. Of course, it's not about wanting what's good for the people. Of course, it's not to do with anything related to the good of any people. Benjamin Netanyahu is representing Israel, an occupying entity that is there for its own interests. But what is very significant is that this is the map of Somaliland. Look at the map of Somaliland over here. That's Somaliland, this little area. Part of Somalia, of course, and they want, or some elements within them want to be separate. Netanyahu is supporting that. Where is it located? Exactly next to Yemen. Why is Israel interested in recognition, and for what exactly? Similar to the reasons that Israel has interest in Ethiopia, Djibouti, Eritrea, all of these locations. But Somaliland is more important because of the sheer size of Somaliland. And when we were talking about the separatists in South Yemen, the separatists are in this area over here. These are the areas that they want to control, primarily Aden. They want to control Aden, and they want to have a hand there. Now Israel is recognizing Somaliland, and with the recognition of Somaliland, they will, of course, have bases. As a matter of fact, the group or the organization that orchestrated this recognition was none other than the Israeli Mossad. And it doesn't take a lot to think, well, why did the Israeli Mossad orchestrate this? Because in the general grand scheme of things, you'd think they've been talking about the Abraham Accords and they want to have new deals with more countries, and they managed to have a deal with Somaliland. It's not significant, is it? Well, yeah, if you think about it in terms of the effect and impact of Somaliland and the capabilities of Somaliland. But when you, of course, look into it further, a divided country, Israel thrives on divisions and wants to instill them even further. Divide and rule, this is how they operate. That's why they want to divide everything next to them to make it easier for themselves to have control. But Somaliland in particular, we're talking about preemptive strikes against Ansarullah in Yemen that have been conducted against Israel and that are very likely to be conducted against Israel in the future as well. Pre-warning actions being taken. The Israeli forces will most likely have bases in that area, and they will have a very strong presence. They will have a level of control over this area, and they would be able to anticipate any sort of attacks, at least to a larger extent than what they do now, that come from Yemen. Although the problem is with that is it might not be fully effective. However, it's an expansion, and that expansion is dangerous. And if you see an Israeli recognition, then you might as well imagine Israel on this map here rather than Somaliland, because if they would have control, if they would have a say, if they would have forces there, if they would have intel, if they would have an element of or a level of freedom of action, it's going to be extremely dangerous. That is directly tied with the actions that the UAE is taking in the south of Yemen, that now the Saudi country and state is attacking, because overall it goes even against their initial separation plan of Yemen. Yes, it might be complicated, but if you look into it, well, it's not really too complicated. There are certain powers here who want to divide Yemen even further, because Yemen, or at least elements within Yemen, were very, very active during the genocide, and they managed to cause a lot of damage to Israel, the genocide state, and conduct a very successful blockade that no other country conducted, apart from Ansarullah in Yemen. Now, well, what's the response, you may ask? Well, there were responses. There was a response that came from Saudi Arabia, the country that is now having this campaign in South Yemen. And again, South Yemen is so close to Somaliland. They are completely against the Israeli attack, saying that they fully support the sovereignty, unity, and territorial integrity of the sisterly Federal Republic of Somalia as a whole. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Saudi Arabia also said that the kingdom's categorical rejection of the declaration of mutual recognition between Israeli occupation authorities and Somaliland region, stressing that this step reinforces unilateral separatist measures that would undermine the stability in the region. Again, why? Because Israel could use that as a pretext against any country, including Saudi Arabia, including any country that is considered to be close to Israel or even has ties with Israel. Think about it this way. Tomorrow, Israel will start supporting and funding a group, and this group all of a sudden will say, well, I want a piece of this land. And Israel will come and say, well, I recognize this land. It's nothing exclusive to Israel, by the way. Many Western establishments did that before. They still do it to this day. As a matter of fact, Venezuela, the same country that Donald Trump is attacking now, didn't they have this pseudo president that the whole world recognized? Excuse me, the Western Hemisphere recognized several years back, which led to a total failure. A man who just declared himself president, and then some Western establishment said, yeah, well, he said he's president, so yeah, oh, what the hell? He is a president. So let's do it. So the Saudis know, and other countries know, that Israel is able to do the same thing with some of the Arab countries, especially because they have made their goals, their objectives, their desires very clear. They want a greater Israel, and they also want an expansion of their entity of terror.